So the golf chip is an open skill. The reason being is because every single chip shot will be played differently. So the lie will depend on the outcome of the previous shot and also the design and the layout of each individual golf hole on each golf course. The skill is a discrete skill. It has a distinct beginning and an end, and it is also a growth skill because it involves all the muscles in the body to engage in the whole golf swing. Golf swing analysis. Basically, with the chip, there's 4 main points. So there's your setup, there's the backswing, the downswing, and the follow through. So I'll take you through the setup first. So when chipping a ball at a hole, first of all, you want to have your feet shoulder width apart or a little bit closer. We're not trying to generate a lot of power in this swing, so a wide stance isn't necessary for a big base of support. You want the ball towards the middle, if not towards the back of your stance a little bit, so that the club is just leaning forward so you can get nice and under the ball upon contact. You want to be very neutral, so your hips neutral, your knees neutral, your shoulders neutral. So you don't want to be leaning back, leaning too far forward, so the weight of your body is 50-50 on each leg. If anything, maybe just a little bit more on the front leg, like so. The backswing, you just want to bring the ball, depending on obviously how far you're going to chip the ball, you just want to bring it back in a straight line. Then your downswing, just straight down at the ball, and the follow through is going to guide the ball in the direction you want to strike the ball. Okay, so the measuring of performance will be done with 3 tests. Each test will be exactly the same, but however, one will be a pre-test before the training program, a post-test on the completion of the training program, and a retention test completed 48 hours after the post-test. So what the test will involve will be 5 golf shots from one location at an easy location towards the flag. Then there'll be a second location, so from a moderate place, so a moderate shot or intermediate level shot, and then a very hard or expert shot as well, involving five shots. So in total there'll be 15 attempts at trying to get the balls as close to or in the hole as possible. And how we'll be measuring it is basically, if you land the ball in the hole, you score no points. If you land it within 1 pitching wedge club length of the hole, you get 1 point, and so forth. So each club length you get further away from the hole is an extra point. So the idea is to get as close to 0 points as possible. So the lowest score will be the best score.
Alright, so for a beginner golfer, they would start in the cognitive stage of learning because they're relatively new to the skill. After the training program, we would expect them to be in the associative stage, just because it takes a long time to be able to master the skill and be able to move into the autonomous stage. The associative stage is it's intermediate, so they've learnt the skill basically, but they're not quite perfected the skill like the autonomous stage has.
Okay, so I'm now going to demonstrate to you how to perform a golf chip. Okay, so the main cues that we're going to be using to teach will be to keep your eye on the ball, number 1. Number 2, you want to have a neutral stance, so nice and level throughout your whole body. No conscious acceleration through the swing, so we're trying to control power, not generate power. So basically you want the weight of the club to be doing most of the work, and we're just going to be controlling the length of the swing to control the amount of power being used. So the last verbal cue was the follow through. So you notice when I chipped through that I held that position for a while. So that's just to ensure that I'm actually maintaining that follow through and holding it in that spot to ensure that the flight of the ball is going where I want it to go.
To make it easier for the performer, we will try to relate the skill of chipping to any other skill they may have performed in the past. And that way that will make it a lot easier for them to learn the skill, and also the key points of chipping they'll be able to relate to a little bit more. So the type of feedback we're going to be using is terminal. So we're going to tell the performer how they did after every skill, and it's going to be constructive as well as positive feedback, so we're giving motivation as well. At first, all the feedback is going to be on their performance because the results are irrelevant, and then when they move into the associative stage, we can start to focus on the results rather than the performance, because if you're getting better results week 1 we'll be focusing on repetition of a basic chip shot, so they can focus on the contact of the ball as well as the setup. And as the weeks progress, we'll make the shot harder for them. So we'll change the lie of the ball, maybe make them chip over a bunker, or the distance of the shot can change. But throughout the progression of the training program, we'll also still get them to practice the basic chip shot from an easy position, but get them to focus on the harder shots as well, so that way they can improve over the 5 weeks. So at the end of the 5 weeks, maybe in the 5th week, they can perform the basic chip shot consistently, as well as perform the more difficult shot. Alright, so when performing the skill, we want to use whole practice, which means performing the whole skill without breaking it down into its parts. Mainly because when you perform the golf swing, you just perform it all as one. You don't practice the backswing and then practice the follow through. It's all done in one fluent motion, so that's why we use whole practice.
So the variety of practice tools that we'll be using throughout our program will basically involve our club selection. So there'll be various instances where you need to perform a slightly different type of chip shot to another. So in the case where the ball needs to stop quickly, or we may need to go over a lot of rough or longer grass, we'll be using a higher lofted club. In an instance where the pin may be further away on the green, however we're just on the edge of the green and we won't be chipping over much rough, a less lofted club might be used, for instance. This will allow the ball to roll a longer distance, and it's a lot easier to hit the ball at a part of the green that's closer to you rather than further away. So the idea is that although we do want to provide a higher consistency with our good shots, we want our bad shots to be not as bad as well. Okay, so basically by the end of the 5 weeks, we'll be hoping that our performer will be able to perform the easy chip shot very well, the intermediate shot at a pretty decent level, and then also the harder shot as well. Hopefully they'll be able to have the confidence to be able to attempt the harder shot and pitch the ball into the green, potentially even close to the hole, depending on the progression of the performer.
Initially in week 1, all we really want to focus on is just the technique of the shot, so the knowledge of their performance rather than the knowledge of results. As they get better with their technique, then we'll start focusing on the outcome of the shot and be able to get some results that way.
So we're going to be using mental imagery as one of our main techniques in teaching, basically because we want the performer to mentally rehearse and visualise the stroke that they're going to play before they play it. This way they'll be able to focus on the main points of the skill as well as what they need to work on. Hopefully it'll also give them an idea of how they're going to hit the shot, and it'll also help them to retain the information that they've learned. So whether they've changed something in their swing, mentally rehearsing is going to help retain and consolidate that in their memory.
So the motivational strategies we'll use is to try to get the performer to beat their pre-test score in their retention test. If they do this, they will get a free round of golf courtesy